Hello, students and viewers at home. You are welcome to another online teaching and learning of St. Charles College, Onitsha. This is English Department. My name is Obidi Ngozi Tesi Ni Edebatu. Today, we are going to look at Oral English for Senior Secondary School Part 2. Topic, suprasegmental features continue. Rhyme, consonant cluster, and intonation. Let us look at specific objectives of this lesson. By the end of the lesson, students should be able to define rhyme, identify and pronounce it in words and sentences. 2. Mention, identify, and articulate different types of rhyme. 3. Explain a cluster. Identify and articulate a consonant cluster. 4. Define intonation. 5. Mention, exemplify, and pronounce intonation patterns. We should recall that in the first part of our oral English studies for senior secondary school, we were introduced to the suprasegmental features of oral English, which are topics that are far from individual sounds or sound segments. Topics like word syllabification and stress were discussed. Today, we are going to study more suprasegmental features of oral English. Now let's look at rhyme. Rhyme is the correspondence of same-sounding words or syllables of two words. This feature makes use of phonetic echo. There are 4 types of rhyme, namely initial rhyme, medial rhyme, end rhyme, royal or total rhyme. These rhymes are named according to their positions in words. They are initial rhyme. Let's see the example. We have company, company, and we have comfort, comfort. Now, when you look at the two words, you can see that the rhyme is at the initial position. We have medial rhyme. Medial rhyme occurs in the middle of two words. Example, democracy, democracy, emoluments, emoluments. If you look at the two words, you can see that they rhyme at the middle of each word. Mo and mo. Mo in democracy and mo in emoluments. So this is a medial rhyme. Third is end rhyme. This rhyme is found at the ending syllable of two different words. Take note that this rhyme occurs frequently in majority of English words. End rhyme. It occurs at the end. For example, we have closure and pleasure. If you look at the two words, you find out that they rhyme at the ending part of each word. For instance, closure has je, and pleasure ends with je. So they have end rhyme. Fourth, royal or total rhyme. This type of rhyme is found when two words have same sound from the initial positions to the end without minding their different spellings. Examples are, we have the two words, you and you. The first one has its spelling as E-W-E, but it is pronounced you. The second one is Y-O-U, and it is pronounced the same you. So you see that they have same sound. So from the beginning to the end, they have the same sound. So we call it total rhyme or royal rhyme. We also have another example, Q-U-A-Y. Q-U-A-Y is pronounced key. K-E-Y is also pronounced key. So from the beginning of the word to the end, each of the words given as example have the same sound, the same pronunciation. So we call them total rhyme. They rhyme totally from the beginning to the end. Now we look at consonant cluster. What do we mean by consonant cluster? A cluster is a group of similar things that are close together. A consonant cluster, therefore, is a group of consonant sounds in a word without intervention of any vowel sound. Note that what is minded is the pronunciation. Phonetic, not the alphabetic spelling. What is minded in consonant cluster is the pronunciation. Take note of that, not the spelling. For instance, you have this word, D-R-O-U-G-H-T. It is pronounced drought. You can see that the G-H-T, the three consonant letters are not pronounced differently. They are pronounced T. They form just one consonant, so there is no cluster there. So as you can see, the alphabetic spelling has clusters of consonant letters. D, R, and G-H-T. There is no cluster in G-H-T in the pronunciation of the word. So there is no cluster at the end. The cluster is at the initial position. Other examples are frustrate. We have FR and STR. Psalm. There is no cluster in psalm. Take note of that. Despite the fact that the spelling has PS and LM together, but the two syllables or group of letters are not pronounced as cluster. In the pronunciation, you have only psalm, so there is no cluster. Table, you have only bowl, as where we have cluster. Wrestling, we have STL. STL is the only cluster we have there. Despite the fact that the beginning of that word starts with WR, that are consonant letters. They are not consonant sounds. During pronunciation, it's only R that is heard, so there is no cluster. Take note of the fact that it is the pronunciation that matters in consonant cluster, not the spelling. Take note of that. Stopped. We have ST as a cluster because we pronounce T together. And we have put. That is, at the end you have PPED. The PPED, the group of letters are pronounced put when you transcribe it. So you see P and T are consonant sounds. That's why you say that it has a cluster. Hence, we have words of one consonant cluster, for instance, table. Two consonant clusters, for instance, frustrate and stopped. Three consonant clusters, that is, the words that have three consonant clusters. We have transcription. In the pronunciation, you hear yourself, tr, skr, put, when you are pronouncing. So you see, you have three consonant clusters. Don't mind the spelling, mind the pronunciation. Consonant clusters like democracy. We have democracy. We have only kr, and there is no other cluster there. No matter the fact that at the end you have CY as consonant letters, but they are not pronounced CY as a sound. They are pronounced S, which means the Y turns to I. There is no cluster there. Now let us look at the climax of oral English. Intonation. Among the suprasegmental features, this is the highest feature. It is the rise or fall of the pitch of the voice. Remember that in our previous lesson, we saw pitch as the normal melodic height of an individual's speech. English language is intonational because of the stressed and unstressed syllables in the language, coupled with other features such as tone, rhyme, and consonant cluster. According to Onitsha Psalm 2003, when we speak, our voice pitch changes because we do not make all the sounds on the same note. We make some sounds on a high pitch, It is this change from high to low or low to high pitch that gives rise to various intonation patterns. If there are no such changes in pitch, our speech will sound very monotonous and meaningless. It is therefore important to make our utterances with the correct tune so that the intended message will be understood. Now let's look at the functions of intonation. Why do we study intonation? Why do we use intonation in our speech? There are three functions of intonation in English language, namely grammatical function. This is to show the sentence type according to function such as statement, question, command, or exclamation. For instance, statements are made on falling tune, while polar questions are made on rising tune. Second, attitudinal function. Intonation indicates the attitude or mood of the speaker, such as indifference, surprise, doubt, excitement, interest, and cynicism. Third, delimiting the units of information. That's another duty of intonation. We can recall that some expressions are ambiguous when written. That means having two meanings. It is the use of the correct intonation that will suggest what the speaker means. Let us take the following as an example. Look at this sentence very well. The students who ate lastly left for the morning assembly. Now we cannot determine what the speaker means in just writing. It is by the use of intonation and punctuation that the intended message will be gotten as follows. The students who ate, you can see the arrow down, brings the voice down. The students who ate lastly left for the morning assembly. The second meaning of that statement is the students who ate lastly left for the morning assembly. The other one is the students who ate lastly left for the morning assembly. This one is the students who ate lastly left for the morning assembly. You can see that this sentence has two meanings. The students who ate lastly left for the morning assembly. That's they attended the assembly lastly. Then this one says, the student who ate lastly. You can see that the voice is up. The student who ate lastly left for the morning assembly, meaning that those people that left for the morning assembly are the students or were the students who ate lastly. Take note of the two meanings of this sentence. So with the indication of intonation, you can assess the meaning. There are two prominent patterns of intonation, namely falling tune, tune 1, and rising tune, tune 2. Falling tune. This is when the voice pitch descends to a final fall. It is found in statements, WH questions, and command as follows. My mother is a nurse. Mm, 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 mm. The voice came down. That is statement. Who read the book? No matter the use of WH there as a question, you don't have to say who read the book. You say who read the book. So WH question ends with what? The low pitch. Walk down the lower field. Command is also a low tone, that is falling tune. Rising tune. This is when the last stressed word takes the voice up. It is found in polar questions that demands yes or no. The questions that demands yes or no are called polar questions. Greetings and listing of items. Examples. 1. Can you help me? That is a polar question. It's a question, but it takes the voice up at the end. This is a sharp rise. Second, do read on. I didn't say do read on. I said do read on. The voice goes up. That's polite request. It takes a gradual rise. 3, goodbye. You don't say goodbye, goodbye. goodbye. Not goodbye, but goodbye. It takes the voice up. This is greeting. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mm, 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 mm. Listing of items takes the voice up. These are under rising tone. Note, every lesson on oral English or phonetics is geared towards intonation, which enables a speaker to convey his or her meaning to the audience and to speak like the native speakers. Now, my great students, here we have come to the end of this lesson, and this is the end of oral English. Once you reach intonation, you have finished your studies in oral English. Now look at these questions and answer them correctly. 1. Define rhyme. Choose the word that rhymes with Q. A. Few. B. Loon. C. Lure. D. Moon. E. Poor. 2. Define a consonant cluster. Choose the word that has 3 consonant clusters. A. Psalmist. B. Country. C. Creativity. D. Constitutional. E. Treacherously. 3. Define intonation. 4. Mention the 2 intonation patterns. 5. Which pattern is A. Where are you going? B. Can you send the message? Indicate each pattern with an arrow. Now, my great listeners, especially my great students, we have come to the end of this lesson. Make sure that you answer all the questions that I gave you and send your answers to my WhatsApp contact, Obidi Ngozi Tesi ni Edebatu. Phone 08111418828. St. Charles College, Onitsha. I wish to appreciate the following mentors of mine. 1. Professor Sam Onuigbo of UNN. 2. Dr. Mark Ononiwu of FUTO, who took time to write books according to classes using the scheme of work. I love you all. Bye.